The Ford Escape's actually been through a number of iterations over its lifetime. It started out as a simple, boxy little truck. Then it became one of Ford's first hybrids, and now we've got in front of us the 2014 model. Now, the 14 Escape can actually be had with a lot of tech, but this SE model we've got in front of us is what I think in the sweet spot. Let's take a look at it and see what I mean. Now, our SE model isn't equipped with the top-of-the-line My Ford Touch system. It's actually got the basic, deceptively simple, actually, let me take that back. It's not very deceptively simple because, I mean, well, look at all these buttons. But don't worry, you won't actually spend a lot of time touching these buttons, and that's because this Ford Escape is equipped with Ford Sync, with AppLink. And what that means is that you'll do a lot of your interactions with the infotainment via voice. You install the app, you turn on your car, and you're done. It's just that simple. You don't even actually have to touch the phone in most of the situations. Sync.
Sync, please say a command.
Mobile apps.
Mobile apps, please say a command.
Pandora.
Pandora, please say a command.
Play the Hive's radio. That's not what I asked for, but it's close. Listen to the Hive's radio. There we go. So Ford actually lists about 22 or more apps between the platforms Android, BlackBerry, and iOS. I've got a couple of them installed on my phone. A lot of them kind of overlap though. If you've got Mog, for example, or Rhapsody, maybe you don't want to install Spotify. You've got a lot of different choices here, and when you're talking about apps, choice is good. Interestingly, the Bluetooth audio stream doesn't seem to show album information when connected to my Android phone. Some of the other cars that I've tested have. The rest of the audio sources are going to include your standard sort of CD slot here, USB port for connectivity to iPod devices or your mass storage. You've got an auxiliary input. You've got AM and FM radio and Sirius XM satellite radio with a really neat trick. When you're listening to satellite radio, you can actually access this feature called replay. And what that allows you to do is very briefly pause live radio and then get out of your car. You can pause for about 30 minutes, and when you get back into your car and hit play, it'll pick up right where it left off. And then, of course, you can jump back to direct play. So if you're in your car, you're listening to a baseball game, and you've got to get out to fill up or pick up something from the store, you don't have to worry about missing the play. Further down the console, you've actually got your dashboard-mounted shifter right here for the 6-speed automatic transmission. You do have a sport mode at the bottom of the shifter, which is going to actually change those shift points and give you better access to the 170 some odd horsepower that you have. It does feel a little bit better, a little bit more responsive for performance driving, if you want to put that in quotes, than the standard drive mode. And when you put it in reverse, you'll see that the 4.3-inch screen in the dashboard also serves as a rear view camera. If you've got the trunk open like we do, you get a nice exclamation point letting you know maybe it's not the best time to start moving. Here's where things get a little bit weird. Now, all week I've been grabbing right here what looks like the logical place to open the liftgate and getting nothing. Actually, the grab point's down here. There's a little button where you open it up the old-fashioned way. It's a little bit confusing, and I think it's one of those things that's left over from that stretched out vertical focus design where they just slap that on there willy-nilly. Now, the Ford Escape can actually be had as an S model with a 2.5-liter Duratec engine. That's a workaday engine. It's naturally aspirated. It's got port injection. It's good for about 168 horsepower, but our SE model is actually stepping down in displacement, stepping up in power. This is a 178 horsepower, 1.6-liter EcoBoost engine. That's good for about 184 pound-feet of torque, so you're getting a little bit more efficiency. 23 miles per gallon in the city, 32 miles per gallon on the highway, and that's 1 mile per gallon more than the Duratec by every one of those metrics, and the power is actually a little bit more usable. Now that power is going to go through a 6-speed automatic transmission with select shift manual shift mode. That's the only option that you're going to get on the Escape. You do have the choice at the SE model between front wheel drive and all wheel drive. This is a front wheel drive model, so you get better efficiency. The all wheel drive is going to give you a little bit more traction when the weather gets a little slippery. Ford and a lot of automakers have been doing a lot of talking about downsizing engines and adding turbos to get big displacement power with small engine efficiency. So we've got the 1.6 liter under the hood instead of a 2 or a 2.5 like you'd expect. in a vehicle of this size, augmented of course by that turbocharger, and by George, I think they've got it. But the power is good, particularly in the sport mode where the transmission seems really happy to stay in a lower gear and kind of give you better access to those high revs, the power. You do kind of at low speeds and around the city kind of get that good planted Ford Focus feel, that European tuned steering and handling that Ford's been promising us with this new generation of their C platform vehicles. But the problem is that when you get up to highway speeds, it just kind of feels like it's moving around a lot. The whole vehicle is just kind of moving around a lot underneath you. Not the most planted vehicle that I've driven this month. Now the 2014 Escape can actually be had at the base S model for $22,700, and that's a pretty good car with the Duratec engine. It's perfectly serviceable and reasonable amount of tech. You can also go CNET style, as Brian Cooley likes to say, and jump up to the titanium model with the turbocharged engine and lots of power. You can go crazy with the tech and make this thing parallel park itself and open the trunk automatically. But then you're going to be pushing the price close to $35,000. Now this SE model, which starts at $25,550, it's right there in the middle. Add $895 for your destination charge, and I think you're gonna find that less is more in this case.